The massive ship hung in Earth's orbit like a silver needle against the black backdrop of space. Its design was unlike anything humans had ever seen before. Smooth, almost liquid-like, with no visible seams or traditional spacecraft features. Inside the ship, Ambassador Jae-hoon adjusted his translation device and looked down at the blue and green planet below. Remarkable, he muttered to himself, such a primitive world. The Luminarian delegation had visited hundreds of planets. They knew exactly how to classify developing civilizations. Humanity was supposed to be just another young species. Interesting, but not important. They would make first contact, offer some basic galactic protocols, and move on. In the United Nations headquarters in New York, Una Park stood perfectly still. Her dark blue uniform was crisp, her posture military straight. She had been chosen for this moment after years of intense training. While the diplomatic corps saw this as a routine first contact, the military intelligence behind her knew something the aliens did not. Earth was ready. The first transmission came through precisely at 1423 Greenwich Mean Time. The global communication networks, which looked simple to the Luminarians, were actually a complex web of quantum-encrypted channels. What seemed like standard radio waves carried multiple layers of information. Greetings, people of Earth. The alien transmission began. The voice was smooth, almost musical, translated perfectly into every human language simultaneously. We are the Luminarian Collective, representatives of the Galactic Confederation. Yuna's earpiece crackled with internal communication. General Sung-Ho Kim's voice was calm but sharp. Stay neutral. Let them think we're exactly what they expect. The aliens' initial scans of Earth were fascinating to them. They saw a planet with basic space technology, multiple competing nations, and what appeared to be primitive defense systems. Nuclear weapons, chemical rockets, and satellite networks that seemed almost childlike compared to galactic standards. What they didn't see were the hidden systems. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a massive complex hummed with activity. Quantum computers processed information at speeds the Luminarians couldn't comprehend. Military strategists had been preparing for potential alien contact for decades, running countless simulations, studying every possible first contact scenario. Jae-hoon prepared his standard first contact speech. It was a script used thousands of times across the galaxy, gentle, patronizing, designed to make developing species feel both honored and slightly inferior. He would offer basic technological exchanges, suggest membership in the broader galactic community, and outline some fundamental rules. Standard procedure. In New York, Una Park listened carefully. Her tablet displayed multiple screens, live satellite feeds, communication analysis, quantum signature tracking. To the Luminarians, it would look like a simple digital device. In reality, it was a highly advanced piece of hardware that could process more information in a second than most alien civilizations could in a year. We come in peace, Jae-hoon's transmission continued, and wished to welcome humanity into a broader understanding of the universe. A slight smile crossed Yuna's face. If only they knew. The Luminarian ship began its descent, preparing to make physical contact with Earth. They expected a typical scenario. Local government officials, some scientific representatives, perhaps military personnel standing at attention. They would offer guidance, share some basic technological concepts, and begin the long process of bringing humanity into the galactic fold. They had no idea what was coming. As the ship moved closer to the designated landing zone in the Nevada desert, multiple systems were already in motion. What looked like a simple military base was actually a highly sophisticated first contact facility. Every piece of equipment, every person in place, had been carefully selected and prepared. Humanity was about to surprise the galaxy, and they were going to do it with a calm, calculated approach that would change everything the Luminarians thought they knew about developing species. The Nevada desert was hot and dry. Dust swirled around the Luminarian ship as it touched down on the carefully prepared landing zone. Jae-hoon watched through the ship's transparent walls, his excitement mixing with a hint of professional curiosity. Everything seemed too perfect. General Sung Ho Kim stood at the front of the reception team. His dark eyes scanned the horizon, taking in every detail. Behind him, a team of specialists waited, each one looking relaxed but ready. To the Luminarians, they appeared to be a standard military greeting party. They were so much more. As the alien ship's door opened, Una Park stepped forward. Her tablet remained in her hand, looking like a simple communication device. In reality, it was collecting and processing massive amounts of data with each passing second. The quantum encryption running through its systems would have impressed even the most advanced galactic technological experts. "Welcome to Earth," Una said, her voice calm and clear. Jae-hoon descended the ship's ramp, followed by 3 other Luminarian representatives. They were tall, with skin that seemed to shift colors slightly, a biological adaptation that helped them blend into different environments. Their technology was advanced, or so they believed. What they didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. Inside the nearby mountain complex, banks of computers hummed with activity. Each system was designed to analyze the alien technology, to understand, to prepare. Military strategists had been running simulations for years, countless scenarios of potential alien encounters. The Luminarians began their standard first contact protocol. They pulled out advanced scanning devices, ready to share basic technological concepts with humanity. It was a routine they had performed hundreds of times with developing species across the galaxy. But something was different. General Kim noticed Jae-hoon's confusion first. The alien ambassador's scanning device seemed to be providing conflicting information. What should have been a simple reading of human technological capabilities was turning into something much more complex. "Is everything all right?" Una asked, her voice smooth and controlled. Jae-hoon looked up, his color-shifting skin showing signs of uncertainty. "Your technological signatures are unusual," he said carefully. Beneath the surface, humanity was anything but primitive. The quantum computers in the mountain complex were already dissecting every piece of alien technology. Each scan, each transmission, was being analyzed at speeds the Luminarians couldn't comprehend. What looked like a simple military base was actually the most advanced technological hub in human history. Una's tablet continued to collect data. To the Luminarians, it looked like a basic communication device. In reality, it was breaking down alien technology faster than the aliens could understand. Multiple layers of encryption and analysis were happening with each passing second. "We're eager to learn," Una said, her smile hiding the true depth of human preparation. The Luminarian team began their standard technological exchange presentation. They pulled out holographic displays, ready to show humanity some basic advanced concepts. What they didn't realize was that humans had already developed technologies far beyond what they were about to present. General Kim watched carefully. Years of preparation, decades of secret research, were about to be tested. Humanity had been studying potential alien encounters, developing adaptive technologies that could respond to any technological challenge. The desert wind kicked up, carrying dust around the landing site. It was a moment of first contact that would change everything. The Luminarians thought they were meeting a young, developing species. They were wrong. So very wrong. Humanity was about to show the galaxy something entirely unexpected. Deep in space, something terrible was coming. The void swarm moved like a living nightmare. It wasn't a single entity, but a collection of biomechanical parasites that consumed entire star systems. Whole civilizations had vanished in its wake. Planets turned to dust. Entire species were erased from existence. In the Galactic Confederation's main command center, holographic displays showed the void swarm's progress. Red markers indicated destroyed systems, each one a graveyard of lost hope. Admirals and leaders from hundreds of species watched in silent terror. Jae-hoon stood among them, his color-shifting skin now a pale gray of fear. "We have lost contact with the Orion cluster," a technician announced. His voice was flat, but everyone understood the meaning. Another 1 million lives had just been erased. Back on Earth, General Sung Ho Kim received the first early warning. The quantum communication network picked up signals that no other species had detected. Massive data streams began flowing through hidden channels, analyzing the approaching threat with a precision that shocked even the most advanced alien technologies. Unipark studied the incoming information. Her tablet was no longer just a communication device. It was now a complex analysis system that processed more data in a second than most galactic civilizations could in a year. "Sir," she said to General Kim, "the Void Swarm is moving faster than previous projections." The mountain complex beneath the Rocky Mountains came alive. Massive computer systems that looked like simple military hardware began their true work. Adaptive algorithms started running countless scenarios. Each potential approach to the Void Swarm was analyzed, dissected, and prepared. Humanity had been ready for this moment for decades. The Luminarian Confederation called an emergency meeting. Representatives from thousands of species gathered, their hope growing dim. The Void Swarm had destroyed civilizations that had been spacefaring for millions of years. What chance did they have? Nobody expected humanity to be the answer. In the Nevada desert, the alien landing site became something else entirely. What looked like a simple military base transformed. Hidden systems emerged. Defense platforms that seemed to materialize from nowhere. Satellite networks that had appeared basic now showed their true complexity. Jae-hoon watched in growing wonder. The first long-range scans of the Void Swarm revealed something terrifying. It wasn't just consuming planets. It was absorbing their technology, their resources, their very essence. Entire star systems became nothing more than raw material for its endless expansion. Earth's defense teams worked silently. No panic, no confusion, just pure, calculated preparation. "We need a strategy," the Galactic Confederation's lead admiral announced. His voice was tired, defeated. Unipark stepped forward. Her presentation wasn't fancy. It was simple, direct, and contained information that made even the most advanced alien species sit up and take notice. Detailed analysis of the Void Swarm's potential movement. Predictive models that showed weaknesses nobody had seen before. General Kim watched carefully. Years of secret research, decades of preparation, were about to be tested. The Void Swarm was getting closer. Entire star systems were going dark. Millions of species prepared for what seemed like the final battle of their existence. And humanity. They were just getting started. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. The first threat was approaching, and Earth was ready. The presentation room was silent. Unipark stood at the front, her tablet connected to massive holographic displays. Representatives from the Galactic Confederation stared in disbelief. What they saw was not just a defense strategy. It was a complete reimagining of how to fight an impossible enemy. "The Void Swarm adapts," Una began, her voice calm. "So will we." Behind her, the holographic display showed layers of technological systems that seemed to breathe and move. These were not static defense platforms. They were living, thinking networks that could change faster than the enemy could understand. Jae-hoon leaned forward. His color-shifting skin showed deep shades of purple and blue, a sign of intense concentration and growing respect. The strategy was simple but revolutionary. Where other civilizations built defenses, humans designed systems that could think. Adaptive weapons that could learn. Communication networks that could predict and counter enemy movements before they happened. General Sung Ho Kim stood beside Una. His eyes were sharp, calculating. Years of secret research were about to be revealed. "Our first line of defense," he explained, "is not a weapon. It's information." The holographic displays began to show complex models. Each system was connected, each piece of technology able to communicate and adapt in milliseconds. What looked like simple satellite networks were actually advanced quantum communication platforms. The Luminarian scientists couldn't believe their eyes. One by one, the defense platforms were explained. nano-adaptive armor that could change its molecular structure to counter different types of attacks, communication systems that could break through any interference, weapons that were more like living organisms than traditional technology. "We've been preparing," Eunice said, "for something like the Void Swarm our entire history." The first test came quickly. The Void Swarm sent its forward scout groups, massive biomechanical entities designed to consume and analyze. They expected easy prey. They expected another civilization to fall quickly. They were wrong. Earth's defense platforms activated, but they weren't just shooting back. They were learning. Each attack from the Void Swarm was analyzed, understood, and countered within seconds. Weapon systems that could reconstruct themselves. Defensive shields that could predict and block incoming attacks before they happened. The scouts disappeared. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Simply gone. Complete deletion. In the Galactic Confederation's command center, the holographic displays showed something impossible. The Void Swarm's forward group had been completely neutralized. No debris. No damage to surrounding space. Just empty space where the scouts had been. Jaehoon's skin turned a bright, shocked blue. "How?" one of the alien admirals asked. Yuna's smile was small but confident. The mountain complex beneath the Rocky Mountains continued to work. Quantum computers processed information at speeds that defied understanding. Each second contained more computational power than most civilizations could achieve in years. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations. The Void Swarm had met its match. And they didn't even know it yet. The galaxy was about to learn something important. Humans were not just another species. They were a force of nature. The Galactic Council looked confused. General Sung-Ho Kim stood before them, explaining something they had never seen before. Humanity's approach to defense was not just different. It was completely revolutionary. "We learn," he said simply. "We adapt. We overcome." In the massive council chamber, representatives from thousands of species listened. Some looked worried. Some looked curious. All of them were trying to understand how a species they had considered primitive could suddenly become so important. Yuna Park stood nearby, her tablet constantly processing information. Each second contained more data than most civilizations could gather in months. The holographic displays showed how human defense systems worked. They were not just machines. They were living, thinking networks that could change faster than any enemy could predict. Where other civilizations built static defenses, humans created systems that could think. Jaehoon watched carefully. His color-shifting skin showed deep shades of blue and green, a mix of confusion and growing respect. "Look at how we approach problems," General Kim explained. He pulled up historical examples. Earth's history was full of moments where humans had overcome impossible challenges. From early technological developments to complex global problems, humans had always found a way. The Void Swarm was just another challenge. Each alien species in the Council had a fixed way of fighting. Their technologies were old, established. They had rules. They had limits. Humanity seemed to have none. A Zarkonian admiral spoke up. "But how can you build defense systems that can change so quickly?" General Kim smiled. "Because we don't see limits. We see opportunities." The presentation continued. Humans had been studying potential alien threats for decades. Every possible scenario had been analyzed. Every potential enemy had been considered. The mountain complex beneath the Rocky Mountains was more than a military base. It was the most advanced thinking machine in the known universe. Quantum computers processed information at speeds that defied understanding. Adaptive technologies that could change molecular structure in milliseconds. Communication networks that could predict enemy movements before they happened. The Galactic Council watched in growing amazement. Yuna's tablet showed live data from the ongoing conflict with the Void Swarm. Each attack by the alien threat was met with a response that was not just defensive, but transformative. Human systems were learning, growing, changing. "We are not just fighting," General Kim said. "We are evolving." The alien representatives began to understand. Humanity was not just another species. They were a complete system of adaptation and survival. In space, the conflict with the Void Swarm continued. But it was no longer a one-sided battle. Human defense platforms were not just stopping the threat. They were understanding it, breaking it down, learning from every single interaction. Jae-hoon realized something important. Humanity was not just defending themselves. They were defending the entire galaxy. And they were doing it in a way no one had ever seen before. The learning curve was steep. The Void Swarm was about to learn a very important lesson. Humans never stop learning. They never stop fighting. And they always find a way. Space was burning. The battle against the Void Swarm had become something no one expected. What started as a defensive action was now a complete transformation of galactic warfare. Unipark watched the holographic displays. Her fingers moved quickly across her tablet, processing information faster than most computers could even start to calculate. Each second was a lifetime of strategic decision-making. "Systems are adapting," she reported calmly. The human defense platforms were no longer just machines. They were living, thinking networks that could change faster than the Void Swarm could understand. Where other civilizations saw weapons, humans saw opportunities to learn and grow. General Sung-Ho Kim stood in the Mountain Complex control room. Hundreds of screens showed different parts of the conflict. But these were not simple battle displays. They were complex webs of information, each connection telling a story of adaptation and survival. Jae-hoon watched from the Galactic Council observation deck. His color-shifting skin showed deep shades of red and blue. Excitement and fear mixed together. The Void Swarm had consumed entire star systems before. They had destroyed civilizations that had been spacefaring for millions of years. Their biomechanical nature allowed them to absorb and use the technology of any species they encountered. But humans were different. Instead of trying to fight the Void Swarm with traditional weapons, humanity did something unexpected. They began to understand it. Each attack was analyzed. Each movement was studied. The human defense systems were learning faster than the Void Swarm could change. Biological augmentation techniques turned soldiers into something more than human. Not through heavy machinery or complex implants, but through adaptive systems that could think and change in milliseconds. Communication networks predicted enemy movements before they happened. Weapon systems could reconstruct themselves. Defensive shields became living things. "We're not just fighting," General Kim said to the Galactic Council representatives. "We're evolving." The battle moved across multiple star systems. What looked like simple space combat was actually a complex dance of information and adaptation. Human technology was not just defending. It was learning, growing, changing. Yuna's tablet showed something impossible. The human defense platforms were now able to predict and counter Void Swarm attacks before they even happened. Not through luck, through pure, calculated understanding. The Void Swarm had met its match. And it didn't even know it yet. Entire sections of space that were once considered lost were now being reclaimed, not through brute force, but through a complete understanding of the threat. Jae-hoon watched in growing amazement. The human approach was nothing like anything the galaxy had ever seen before. "They're not just fighting," he mumbled to himself. "They're teaching." The mountain complex continued its work. Quantum computers processed more information in a second than most civilizations could in years. Each moment was a lifetime of strategic thinking. The Void Swarm was about to learn a very important lesson. Humans were not just another species. They were a force of nature, a complete system of survival and adaptation. And they were just getting started. The turning point had arrived. The galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy was changing. What started as a simple defense against the Void Swarm had become something much more. Humanity was no longer just fighting. They were transforming how entire civilizations thought about survival. Unipark stood in the integration center. Around her, representatives from hundreds of different species worked together. But they weren't just working. They were learning the human way of thinking. Adaptation is survival, she explained to a group of alien scientists. The technology was spreading. What humans had developed wasn't just a defense system. It was a complete approach to understanding and overcoming challenges. Other species began to see the world differently. General Sung Ho Kim watched the transformation. Alien ships were being refitted with human-developed technologies, communication systems that could predict threats, defensive platforms that could learn and change, weapons that were more like living systems than simple machines. Jae-hoon observed from the Galactic Council chambers. His color-shifting skin showed deep shades of green and blue, a mix of wonder and understanding. The integration was not simple. It was not just about adding new technology. It was about changing how entire civilizations thought about survival. Alien military leaders studied human battle records. They saw something completely new. Where other species saw obstacles, humans saw opportunities. Where others saw limits, humans saw possibilities. The mountain complex beneath the Rocky Mountains became more than a military base. It became a training center for galactic defense. Alien scientists worked alongside human researchers. They studied how human systems could adapt so quickly, how human technology could learn and grow faster than any other known system in the universe. "We don't just fight," General Kim would explain. "We understand." Entire defense networks were being rebuilt, not with old technologies, but with the human approach to survival. Adaptive systems, learning networks, technologies that could think and change faster than any enemy could predict. Yuna's tablet showed the ongoing transformation. Each day, more species integrated human technologies. Each moment, the galactic defense system became stronger. The Void Swarm was still out there, but now it was facing something completely different. A united galaxy. A galaxy that had learned from humanity. A galaxy that was no longer afraid. Biological augmentation techniques spread, not through force, but through understanding. Soldiers from different species learned how humans approached combat, not as a destruction of an enemy, but as a complete understanding of the challenge. Communication networks became living things, able to predict, able to adapt, able to learn. Jae-hoon realized something important. Humanity had done more than just fight the Void Swarm. They had changed everything. The alien representatives looked different now. No longer afraid. No longer seeing humans as a young, primitive species. They saw humans as teachers, as survivors, as the galaxy's best hope. The integration continued. Technologies spread. Understanding grew. And the galaxy learned an important lesson. Humanity was not just another species. They were a force of nature, a complete system of survival and hope. And they were just getting started. The universe held its breath. Millions of ships gathered. Not just human ships, not just alien ships, but a united force that had learned humanity's most important lesson. Survival is about understanding, not just fighting. Yuna Park stood at the central command. Her tablet was more than a device now. It was the brain of the entire galactic defense network. Each second contained more strategic thinking than most civilizations could achieve in years. "This is it," she said quietly. The Void Swarm approached. It was massive, larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen before. Billions of biomechanical entities that had consumed entire star systems. They expected to find prey. They would find something else entirely. General Sung Ho Kim watched from the mountain complex. Quantum computers processed information at speeds that defied understanding. This was more than a battle. This was the moment that would define the galaxy's future. Jae-hoon's color-shifting skin showed deep shades of red and blue. Excitement and fear mixed together. The Luminarian had become more than an observer. He was now part of something bigger. The first wave of Void Swarm attacks began. But something was different this time. Where other civilizations would have panicked, the United Galactic Force remained calm. Human-developed defense systems activated, but they weren't just defensive. They were adaptive, learning, understanding. Each attack by the Void Swarm was analyzed in milliseconds. Communication networks predicted movements before they happened. Weapons systems became living things. Defensive shields changed molecular structure faster than the enemy could understand. We are not just fighting. General Kim's voice came through every communication channel. We are protecting. The battle moved across multiple star systems. What looked like simple space combat was a complex dance of information and adaptation. Human technology had transformed how entire species approached survival. Yuna's fingers moved across her tablet. Complex algorithms predicted and countered Void Swarm movements, not through brute force, through complete understanding. Alien species that had once been separate now fought as one. They had learned from humanity. They had become something more than they were before. The Void Swarm kept coming, but they were meeting a force they could not understand. A force that learned. A force that adapted. A force that never gave up. Billions of ships moved as a single unit. Human strategies, human communication networks, human adaptive technologies had transformed how the galaxy fought. Jae-hoon watched in amazement. This was not just a battle. This was a complete reimagining of survival. The mountain complex continued its work. Each moment was a lifetime of strategic thinking. Hours passed. Days passed. The Void Swarm kept attacking. The United Galaxy kept adapting. And then something unexpected happened. The Void Swarm began to break. Not destroyed. Not defeated. But understood. Humanity had done more than fight an enemy. They had shown the galaxy a new way of survival. A new way of thinking. The final confrontation was about to end. And everything would change. Silence filled the galaxy. The battle was over. But this was more than just a victory. This was a complete transformation of how species understood survival. Yuna Park stood at the center of the new Galactic Council. Her tablet, now a symbol of human innovation, rested quietly on the table. Around her, representatives from thousands of species looked different. They were no longer afraid. They were no longer separate. They were united. General Sung-ho Kim watched from the side of the chamber. Years of secret preparation had led to this moment. Humanity had done more than fight an enemy. They had shown the galaxy a new way of thinking. Jae-hoon, the luminarian who had first made contact with Earth, now sat as a key advisor. His color-shifting skin showed calm blues and greens, peace and hope mixed together. "We are different now," Yuna said simply. The Galactic Confederation had been completely rebuilt. Where before there were separate species, now there was a united approach to survival. Human technologies had transformed everything. Communication networks that could predict threats. Defensive systems that could learn and grow. The mountain complex beneath the Rocky Mountains was no longer just a military base. It was now the central hub of galactic defense research. Alien scientists worked alongside human researchers. They studied how human systems could adapt so quickly, how human technology could learn faster than any other known system in the universe. Adaptation is survival became more than just a human motto. It became the new galactic understanding. The Void Swarm was gone, not destroyed completely, but understood, analyzed, transformed. Entire star systems that had been lost were now being rebuilt, not with old technologies, but with the new understanding humanity had brought to the galaxy. Military leaders from different species studied human battle records. They saw something completely new. Where others saw obstacles, humans saw opportunities. Where others saw limits, humans saw possibilities. Biological augmentation techniques spread. Soldiers from different species learned how humans approach challenges, not as a destruction of an enemy, but as a complete understanding of the problem. Jae-hoon remembered the first contact. How different things were then. Humanity had been seen as a young, primitive species. Now, they were the galaxy's teachers. The Galactic Council chamber was different now. No more separate sections for different species. One united group. One shared purpose. We protect, General Kim said, his voice echoing through the chamber. We learn. We grow. Yuna's tablet showed the ongoing transformation. Each day, more species integrated human approaches to problem-solving. Each moment, the galactic community became stronger. The technologies that had saved them from the Void Swarm were now being used to solve other challenges: planetary restoration, resource management, conflict resolution. Humanity had done more than just survive. They had shown the galaxy a new way of existing, a way of hope, a way of understanding. The alien representatives looked different now, no longer seeing humans as something small or unimportant. They saw humans as saviors, as teachers, as the galaxy's best hope. The integration continued. Knowledge spread, understanding grew, and the galaxy learned its most important lesson. Humanity was not just another species. They were a force of nature, a complete system of survival and hope, and they were just getting started.